Alright, here we go. Turrets and docking. How will docking for both ships and turrets change in the future? Will we be able to choose how each turret is docked or oriented?
Yes. Specific docking controls and custom orientation is planned. I've also discussed the possibility with Schema of implementing power demands for things like turrets, so that actually using the turret has a detriment, which gives a slight advantage to the player out there using a fighter. It's an option. There's no guarantee that it's going to be implemented, whether you like it or dislike it.
Fair enough. That's an interesting concept. It would give the fighters a little bit better of a, or a little bit more of a chance in a way, anyway.
It's a minor detail, but I mean, like, do you really want to just see a ship that is going around with 200 cannons on it? I mean,
yeah.
A fighter has
to. You mean a porcupine?
No, what this is say a fighter has to invest power into their thrusters to use their agility to turn, right? I think that a turret should also require a power drain to be able to turn and rotate. It makes sense to me. I don't know if other people agree with it, but as far as balance goes, I think they should both drain power. If one does, why shouldn't the other?
Well, yeah, movement is energy and energy is power, essentially. So, yeah, you do need energy to move something. It makes perfect sense.
The rotation of the dock, yeah?
Rotate the turret. There's a dock ship and there's a turret ship, so I don't know.
Okay, I'll just explain, alright? You dock all of your turrets and they all face in a particular direction. Say I want the one on the bottom to face forwards. It's that turret dock orientation. Will we be able to choose how each turret is docked or oriented?
Yes.
Awesome.
He's been working on that system already. It won't be in this current pre-build, but he is working on it.
Aw, sad face. That was one of the features I was actually looking forward to as part of my ship designs.
Right,
it had to get delayed so that it could be implemented properly.
Oh yeah, I know.
Okay.
All that we'll get it is enough for me.
Cool. So, what's the next question, bud?
Next question. Will turrets ever be able to draw shields from its parent ship, or do you think that's a bad idea? If so, why?
Now, this is me personally. I don't think we should ever have full shields on a turret. Possibly a percentage of shields, but that's also getting into the potentials we have for redoing shield systems, because I have ideas there as well to add more customization and control for the player instead of just a blanket ship-wide shield.
Now, I remember talking to you, Cal, about this one. Do you want to go into this now? Since you just brought it up?
Well, I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and. Sorry, I can, but before I do, what Schema said is that we're thinking of making the amount of shielding that a turret gets dependent on the size of the turret, so that if you have a super-sized turret, it may not be given any shielding because it's so big. Right, like the turret block can only supply so much shielding at once, right? That sort of thing.
And that makes sense too.
Now, we'll just the shielding issue. I think we should just save for the miscellaneous, just so they're not.
I'm good with that.
It's not really related to turrets, so.
Fair point.
If someone wants to throw that on the bottom of the list, we'll get to it.
All right, not a problem. Not a problem. All right, let's go ahead and. Are there any plans to change docking? One big issue with the current system is the use of docking beams interacting with plex doors.
This one's a pretty easy one to fix. The Scheme was talking about just adding in a right-click option as opposed to your left-click option. The right-click option would just use your docking beam, and it would ignore the plex doors, so it would shoot through them. So you'd still have both functionalities.
Another elegant solution. That's beautiful.
Simple and elegant.
So remote access and then a straight-up docking function. Sounds wonderful.
All right. Any other
One
comments?
question I have for you that isn't on the list, and I forgot to add it when we were taking these, is will ships with belly-mounted turrets have their docking profile ever adjusted to compensate for the turret?
The docking profile.
Do you mean have the turret on the belly face forward instead of backward?
No, I mean when that ship docks to something else and it has a turret on its bottom, do we have to manually build the ship so that it goes beyond the height of the turret, or will the docking system eventually compensate for that naturally? Because right now, when you dock that way, the turret ends up inside the station or whatever you've docked to.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I'm going to have to wait for an answer from Schema on that. So I don't actually know. I could say everything's possible, but I don't know if he's tried working on that, if there's particular difficulties involved. So if you give me a minute, I'm sure he'll have an answer for you.
All right.
Yeah, like I mentioned with the rotation, it's something that you just made him and I aware of, which is with orientation, this is going to become more of an issue because it won't just be bottom docks, it'll be any side that you're docking to with, you know, so it's something he's going to have to rework the docking system to deal with that.
Probably not something a lot of people want to hear, especially after the last major docking rework, but if it gets things fixed, I'm all for it.
It's fine. Progress, that's what it is. Quite positive about progress myself.
If it breaks docking and that upsets you, play a different part of the game.
Yeah,
Test out something else.
That's what I tell people as well. Yeah, there's a lot more to the game.
If it ends up breaking docking, I'll find a way to make it work again.
And if you break it, submit your bug reports, and then you will help to get fixed. You know, there's a lot of people that did problem with docking, but none of them, not a single one of them, bit in a bug report.
This is the Mushroom Fleet, damn it! We make things happen.
Oh, that was going back to the beginning of last year. There weren't many people on the server then. But yeah, so Ryben, have we covered that question? Is anyone?
I think the next one is a tractor beam still planned, and will it be like a sticky docking
it's cutting out. Do you know? It's cutting out on you, bud. It's so unlucky. That question just doesn't want to be asked. It seems. Right, I'll ask. Is the tractor beam still planned? Will it be like a sticky docking beam?
Yes, in a way.
Right, cool.
It's
such a silly question. It's such an easy question.
We want to have a tractor beam, but it's going to have to work around certain game mechanics. So
cool.
The functionality we want,
yeah, just the ability. It doesn't matter what if it's a beam. If it doesn't matter, just the ability to move another entity without it docking to you. You know.
Oh yeah. I know.
That's all really. But anyway.
I got another one slightly off topic since we're on the concept of docking and moving ships. What are the prospects of Plex landers coming back so this way those that want to go down to a planet but not establish a docking area can land on a planet without much fuss?
Without much lag, you mean?
Yeah. Is there any concept of a system like that coming back or no?
I'm going to go out on a limb here. This is just me, not schema talking. But I'm hypothesizing that there's the possibility, say on like a home base or on a base in general, have a high cost, no docking zone dock. That would work just like a Plex lander, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know, there's limitations and there's issues with that. There's a reason there is a docking zone. That's to prevent collisions and things like that cause lag.
Yeah. I'm well aware of that, and I'm in love with the system because I use it so much. It was an idle thought so that people can get a ship onto a planet and not have to worry about will it fit inside of a prefab docking area or if they even have to set up a docking area at all.
Well, again, the dock zone toggle is the same thing. but whether or not there would be a specific block that never uses that, say only allowed on bases or only allowed on planets, it's a possibility. Yes, it's one we'll have to talk about and be careful when we add it in to prevent things like trolling and griefing. Because if you have someone try and dock a Titan to one of those and it's turned so that the Titan is in the planet, and then they undock, all of a sudden lag storms your entire server.
Yeah.
Lag storm, interesting.
The other way it could be done is as landing gear on the physical ship itself, and it balances the ship. That's something a lot of people do with Plex stores, is they build landing gear that can be toggled on and off on ships.
They do, yeah, a lot of people do that. But I find once the ship goes over a certain size, it just becomes silly because you get teleported away. So for me, big ship, shuttle.
Yep.
But, you know, some people want to do it for a screenshot usually. They've built a big ship, they want to get a picture. So I can see that.
Yep. Alright. How am I coming through?
You're coming through okay, mate?
Alright. Well, I think that means that we need to hit up the next section unless there's any other comments from anyone.
Nope, I'm good.
Alright. I know this is Omni's big baby at the moment, but we're on to creatures, guys. So what kind of space creatures are being developed? Will there be spaceborne creatures like in TNG?
Space ducks.
Exactly.
Like you mentioned, this is something that Omni is heavily involved in because he's the one making the models for things like this. Him and Schema have been working together on the making a system. They're working on a versatile system. It can auto-generate thousands of creatures based on parts. That means procedural, for anyone who's wondering. And they also plan on a reproduction system for creatures. That means a player could breed certain creatures together, melding their stats for an assumed average. Right now, there's already a space creature that you can find in the game, and
Do you want me to show them?
Yeah, you can show them, and
yep,
you can.
Let's do it.
If you like, you can go ahead and just tell everyone what the name the community decided to come up for it, because things like that, as developers, it's just like,
oh yeah,
that's awesome.
Which one? There were loads of them. Was it more or
Creepy
something
little
else?
bastards.
I'm pretty sure the most common one that I've seen at least was calling them quads. I'm just like,
Quads.
That's-
Oh right,
that's
okay.
nice.
They
it's
do
simple
have
and
4
elegant.
legs.
I think that was
Okay.
mostly based on the resource files for the textures and such of them, because they were called quad leg, quad body, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think they're just called a rag, but well, I don't think they
Yeah,
have
they're
a
also
name
called
yet.
ARG, as in they're gonna maul you, sort of like certain other
Was it
infamous
ARG?
name.
Was it Delmont that came up with bubble ducks?
Yeah.
Bubble
Ducks.
ducks.
The bubble
Yep,
ducks.
that's
yeah.
the Mushroom Fleet nickname for them.
Bubble
I
ducks.
mean, I love how your screen is just filled with the little icons for my ship. Sorry about the spam.
Icons. Where's that?
All the arrows on your screen are the
Oh
pellets
god, yeah.
inside my ship.
I tabbed G's off. Yeah, that's Apex. I'm just getting us some bubble ducks
Bubble ducks?
or quads, whatever you want to call
Oh,
them.
creepy little bastards, okay.
Yeah, these guys. It's not very
That's-
well lit here, but then it's my fault for shadows. I love shadows. I think they're great.
Too. What kind of creatures are we likely to see in the future? Will we be getting a space leviathan or friendly space whales?
One guy comment seems to
There's-
really want ponies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot.
that's coming. Told him no.
Um,
Hey, can I make a suggestion?
Let Calvary talk, and then afterwards, maybe.
Okay.
well, the simple answer is maybe. If you're wanting particular custom entities like a space whale, that may not fit in with the procedural generation system, but given the flexibility of that system, it could easily I imagine we could easily add in a specific creature, or the server could add in a specific creature as they want. So you could have a Leviathan or a Space Whale. I assume if we don't do it, the modders will, so...
That's a fair point.
Have fandom, will build.
Yeah.
The modern mantra.
They're a bit dark, guys, I'm sorry, but...
Yeah, and the scaling for creatures is definitely something we can incorporate. So even the procedural...
Of course, the lighting, yes.
One of their aspects, instead of being a part, could be a size. So you might have little tiny ones, and you could have, you know, some very large, scary ones. I'd also imagine intellect could work as an attribute for creatures. This is just me throwing ideas out there, but say if they have an intellect aspect, all of a sudden, instead of acting like a dumb creature, they're going to act like an AI. NPC races, right? It's possible, right?
Yeah.
If there's going to be like creature breeding, will it be possible for, say, a queen-like creature to spawn sub-creatures?
It's possible. I don't know how specifically Omni and Schema want to do things like that. How they breed might be one of their attributes. You know, how many offspring they have at a time, how often they have offspring.
Like, for example, they might just place egg blocks that turn into creatures eventually. For example, I mean.
He said a queen is definitely possible.
Yeah.
An egg block that will spawn creatures. That's a very intriguing idea.
I'm on a roll today.
Basically, though, you're talking about a mob spawner. We'll just throw that out there. It might look like a cool little egg, but it would be a mob spawner.
Yeah.
Well, with the idea I mentioned, it would basically be a single-use mob spawner.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, a mob spawner block. That's
like the
jelly...
spawn eggs in Minecraft.
That's actually how jellyfish procreate in many cases. Fun fact.
Gotta love Apex.
They
Always
create
bringing the weird
cages
stuff.
with spinning entities inside of it that spawn things.
Close, actually. It does look like a cage, but it's actually a coral-like structure, and larval jellyfish break off from it.
Huh.
It is essentially a jellyfish spawning structure.
You learn something every day.
I know things.
Is this education time with Apex now?
Yeah, right.
Totally useless things, but things nonetheless.
Well,
As long as it doesn't turn into story time, we'll be good.
Story time with
awesome.
Apex.
What was
How
the
I found
question?
out about jellyfish. No, I promised
42?
Ruben I would take this seriously.
No. 6 times 7? Yeah.
6 times 7 is 42.
Yeah.
User
So what was the
moved to your
question?
channel.
6 times 7.
all right. If
I'm not trying to derail. I'm actually trying to get back on topic.
yeah, hold on
I'm not
one
very,
second
just not
here.
very well.
I just saw my shit come on screen.
If everybody can hold on 1 second, I'd like to welcome Saber to the chat. Finally.
Hi, Xavier.
Thank you.
Welcome, Saber.
What's up, guys?
Not much, not much. Hold on 1 second.